change the composition of this drawing a bit, because here it's obviously a longer oblong and this is squarer, so I need to fit things within it. The next line there should have come here. I'm going to bring it up to here to make this work and keep some sort of scale. You can work a fairly loose painting within a fairly tight drawing or a reasonably correct drawing, but it's almost impossible to work up a good loose painting in a loose drawing. If the drawing is too loose, because it tends to enhance the actual faults. Well, I think I'm about ready to paint this one now. This rather nice scene. In fact, this is Secrets 5. I'm going to do 4 shortly. Decided to run onto this one first. I like to differ things slightly. This is a slightly different composition and tells a different story. We've got the 2 figures here. Now, these figures are imposed, superimposed. Let me just show you how this goes. We started off with this photograph, and then I decided to try and add a figure with an umbrella in the background, just lurking in the background, here or here. So we've got one that comes here, and we've got another one that came here. That's that one. But I wanted to put a couple of figures in. I could have had those figures on the bench here or forward. Then there was another variation. So we've got the ones with nothing, we've got the ones with the figures at the back, we've got the ones with the figures at the front, we've got the ones with the umbrella, we've got the one with the umbrella, then we've got the ones with the figures and an old guy coming through here looking back at them. I felt that was a wonderful story, but it was just a little bit too lech. I just felt it spoiled the picture rather too much. It gave a very good hidden meaning to it. But I'd rather just have the 2 figures and the idea of all of these windows. There are lots of people living in these places, obviously, and there's no real privacy for anybody. So these 2 are having a quiet confab about whatever, as lovers will, or friends will, but who's watching them from the windows? Who knows them? And so on. So the picture is still about secrets, it's still about interaction between people, but in this case it's a little more subtle as to who's watching them and what's happening. Now it's quite a complicated drawing. Perspective is quite difficult to get, and as I say, fitting it within a square, almost square shape rather than a rectangle, I've had to squeeze things in a bit and change things around a bit. But there we go, let's have a go at this. And again, we'll start off with the brush first, because it's so complicated I'm going to lose my drawing unless I actually block in a little bit more carefully at first and then work up with the brushes afterwards. Right, I'm going to start off with my large filbert brush again and work up all the base colours and work again over with the sponge and then work the details up in whichever order I please. So background first, and then some details, then the sponge, then some details and so on until I feel happy with it. It's a very complicated piece this, so it's going to take me a bit of a while. And this is one of the reasons I want to use the brush first, because there's so many smaller areas of paint to put in which will be very difficult with the roller. Start off with this sky. It's a strange orangey brown, so what have I got? I'll take some burnt sienna, a little bit of raw sienna, and just test that first. It's not far there. It's a little bit more yellow into it, or orange into it. Let's just see if I put a little bit of cadmium yellow into it. Maybe too yellow, now we'll see. Yeah, so now a bit more red into it. A bit more glow, a little bit of cadmium red into it. That's better. Looks very dark when it first goes on because of the white canvas, but very quickly we should be able to establish that these colours are right. Now blocking as quickly as I can. Now in this case we've got dark and light happening here. I'm going to just paint that across there so I can bring the darks over there later. I can still see the pencil marks just through this. Paint is slightly transparent. I'm not painting that ever so thickly yet. Now, when the colour is on the brush, use it elsewhere, wherever it is. In this case we've got an area of this colour coming down here. A bit of varsity between them. And this warm colour is reflecting down with quite a few other places down here. I just want to get rid of, and I kind of keep saying this, but I want to get rid of all of this white canvas. It needs to be, I need to see what the trees, I need to be able to see the relevant colours one to another. Now I'm not convinced that isn't a bit dark yet, so I may come away with that with a roller later. But talking about going darker, let's just do that now. Take some of the pure Indian red, just come down here with that. See, we're starting to get some of these correct colours now. A little more browner yet, more yellow, but I'll gradually build those up as I go along. Yes, I'm definitely going to put a light in the sky up, I can see that. Now I've got these colours on, but you can't tell them until you get one and against another, which is why I try and keep a painting, the whole painting going at the same time, rather than just finishing one area, because you can't be certain that all your values are correct until you get them on. It might be interesting for you to just see just how much we can do with the big brush before we even go on to the smaller one. Put a bit of yellow into it now. Now, it turns to a more blue-grey in a moment. We'll just establish this. I may even turn to a flat square brush for this at the end, because it would make much more sense to be painting in square shapes with a square brush. Well, that's the underpainting done for today. I could go a bit further. It's going to take quite a lot of work, this painting, because there's so many colours and so many things in it. What I did notice was, working from the left here, that I was tilting everything to the left. So I just had to go back in and cut in and straighten up and bend things more to the right. I think at least I got rid of the white and I can start to see where colours need to go now. So I'll go down a brush next, start working into some more of these smaller shapes, and then I'm going to need to work on the roller as soon as I can and get the foreground and background linking across more. It's a challenge. Okay, next day, morning again, and we're going to work on this now with the roller and mix up some colour here. I'll show you how I do that. Now, I've kept my colours in my own Stay Wet palettes, in other words just 2 sandwich boxes here, and I've got wet paper towel on the bottom, and that keeps these damp for absolutely ages. Just got to dampen the paper occasionally, and they'll go for weeks and weeks like that. So it keeps your acrylics going. These are acrylics, of course, and they won't dry out that way. Then I'll mix the paints in here. So what I'm going to do now is use my larger brush just for the mixing side of this. And the colour I want at this particular time is going to be burnt sienna, which I've got to put some more out of in a minute, I can see, and a bit of yellow ochre, and maybe a touch of the yellow as well. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of magenta in this time. And that's a better colour. It's not far out what I want. In fact, I'm going to want a bit more pink in it. And just test it out with the brush first of all, if you want to, on the painting. And that's nicer. And then the roller, I tend to roll the brush out so that I get the paint out of the brush first of all. What to do is come up to the painting itself then, and we can just take the roller straight away and work into it. I'll have to liven things up a bit more again, and wherever else I might be needing it, we can just block it across gently. This lovely effect that the roller gives us as it runs across the surface of the canvas more. We can get some nice effects with it. So we can use the roller to curve as well, lines with it as well as larger areas, just by using the edge carefully and flicking it around. I've got loads and loads of this building up to do now. So that's what we'll do. It's a bit difficult because obviously the canvas goes to the edge. And building it up and building it up bit by bit. Well, there we are. I don't think I can go much further with that. It's a little bit itsy bitsy. I'm not quite sure about it. Maybe when it's varnished the colours will come out a bit better. It was certainly one of the most difficult I've ever had to do. Don't know why particularly. Just getting it all to work without it being too itsy bitsy, I think. Anyway, let's see how it is when it's varnished. Take a closer look at it now.